All right, my friends, welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today we're going to be talking about the new leaks and rumors for the 5090 and the 5080. And this is absurdly insane if you ask me, because for the last 2 years, since the freaking RDNA 3 cards launched, we have heard non-stop the power draw argument over and over and over again. Well, my friends, it seems like Nvidia's 5090 is going to be a 600 watt GPU, and then the 5080 is coming in at over 450 watts. That both of them cards use more power than my 7900 XTX. But I can already hear the goalposts moving. I've already seen the goalposts moving, because now it's about, well, the power. The Nvidia cards are going to be so strong that the power is necessary to run them. And I kind of scratch my head, man. This is the kind of stuff that leads me to completely ignore half of the people out there when they bring this stuff up, because if it's on your side, the GPUs that you like, you don't care, just like I don't care about the power draw for the 7900 XTX. Now, let me explain my way of thinking on this, okay? I have the best AMD GPU you can get. That's what I bought. I have the best AMD GPU you can get. Now, none of the other GPUs in the AMD stack can deliver what the 7900 XTX delivers for me. So when I look at that and I look at the power budget above and beyond all of the rest of those cards, I think, okay, that to me makes sense, because none of the other cards can touch this card. This is the highest performing card in the AMD stack, so I guess the power budget is kind of necessary to push this card past that point. Now, if I overclock it, then I can get more power. I can push this card pretty high. I think there's people pushing this card up to like 600 watts on this card, and it is flying. Like, I've seen some of the benchmarks over on 3D Mark, and like, you can get this card going pretty dang good. So at the end of the day, like, if I wanted to overclock this card, I can definitely squeeze a lot more freaking power out of this bad boy, and the power budget alone allows for that. So when I start hearing about being able to, like the 5090 coming out at a 600 watts, I'm just like, I just have to bat my eyes at the people that have been sitting here telling me that my card is too power hungry since it came out. And I'm like, dude, this is literally the top of the line AMD card you can get. It is. Now, if we're comparing it apples to Nvidia, like the 4080 Super, and this is the thing, guys, when I had the 4080 Super and I was comparing it in the games that I like to play, you got to remember that the games that I like to play, the games that I actively play, and the games that I, would buy a PC for, the games ran much better on the AMD side than they did on the Nvidia GPU. They just did. I had a higher frame rate. I had better looking image quality, in my opinion. I don't know why, dude. Like, seriously, in my opinion, I had better looking image quality on the AMD GPU, and I love that. And I've had people telling me, no, you're wrong. And it's like, all right, whatever, guys. I get that DLSS makes the picture look like better without any kind of artifacting or any of that stuff. But I'm not looking at like the lines. I'm looking at the overall punch and quality of detail, and I feel like it's better on the AMD side. And I sat here on the same monitor with the same GPU, with the same the whole setting, and looked at this thing. I tested this multiple times with multiple different games that I like, and the AMD card experience kept coming out on top for me. Does that mean I'll never buy an Nvidia GPU again? Absolutely not. If this next generation comes out and I'm chasing the top, and the only option I have is a 5090, guys, I'm probably going to end up with a 5090. I'm probably going to end up with a 5090 eventually. I don't know. And if I do, I'm going to buy it as early on in the generation so that I can get my full 2 years out of it before I got to upgrade again. And hopefully AMD will have another card by then that actually competes in the high end for my dollar. Then I will be happy. And so if you look at this, my friends, if you look at this and you take things realistically and you take things at face value when it comes to the PC market, is none of it matters. 1% lows, freaking power usage, none of that matters in the overall scheme of things. The only thing that matters in PC gaming is your happiness, is what you want and what your, like, it's your money. Like, you're the one that's spending your money on this stuff. So if you're out there just following the fads and eating up everything that, like, you got to understand, like, YouTube, content creators, marketing, all of that stuff is designed to take money out of your pocket. It is. Now, I think both GPU makers are good. I think both deserve your attention. I do think that some people are going to love AMD a lot more than they do Nvidia. And that's because I do. And it's weird because, like, I'm not even joking, guys. I am usually like a label whore. I'm usually a label whore, but I don't know, man. Something happened last generation in gaming with the Xbox One X, and I don't completely discount the underdog anymore. I was a full-blown PlayStation fan, and I could have easily just jumped over and been an Nvidia fanboy. Like, I seriously could have done that. Now I kind of take a look back and I look at the overall experience that I get from buying my GPUs. Now, there are things that Nvidia is very good at that I do like and appreciate. They're just things that are not as big of a necessity for me in gaming than the things that AMD does for me. Now, there are features on AMD that are just as good, that are 100%, I think, more valuable. Like I said, just the Adrenaline software alone delivers a better user experience on the AMD side. Just that alone is a much better user experience. Then you get over to Nvidia. Nvidia does, you know, they are building that Nvidia app, and I will eventually be trying this again, guys. Obviously, this YouTube channel is about tech, video games, all of that stuff. So I will eventually have another Nvidia GPU. And to tell you guys the honest truth, the only reason I sold that 4080 Super is because I knew that I love AMD right now, and there's nothing that's going to separate that. Like, I'm good with that. And, you know, the performance that I'm getting above the 4080 Super on the games that I like to play definitely rolls in favor of the AMD card. But the Gigabyte card that I had, okay, guys, because I was starting to get worried about pulling it in and taking it out, putting it back in, about cracking that PCB board. Like, that was the biggest reason I sold it, is because I did not want to damage that card, and I didn't want to damage my 7900 XTX. I just wanted to be done with that until I can get to a point where I can actually make enough money on the channel to buy a test bench and to be able to, you know, potentially run two PCs. I mean, technically I can, but I don't want to at this point right now, because I just don't have it's just too much money sitting on the shelf right now, guys. It's too much money sitting on the shelf. The channel's barely making enough money to pay off, you know, the stuff that I have been buying for it. So once I get to that point, guys, once the channel gets big enough and I'm able to do that, I'll definitely do that again. I will be running both GPUs at the same time. I'm hoping that next generation I can just do a 5090, as well as have, like, you know, if my 7900 XTX is the strongest AMD equivalent or whatever, that's perfectly fine. I will end up trading out the LG C2 and getting a 4K monitor, because I want to see what 4K looks like on a monitor. So I'll end up doing that. Hopefully next generation we'll be able to do all of this stuff and be able to, you know, have like the Nvidia PC and then the AMD PC, and just kind of run those, you know, one at a time. Not necessarily both at the same time. I just think it would make the workflow for me a lot easier if I had both, and I could just do switching back and forth between the two, having, you know, one build and then a whole nother build. So that's pretty much the plan, guys. But I I hope that you guys realize that like most of this stuff is marketing. You kind of in PC gaming, guys, you kind of have to have an open mind. And this is my best advice for anybody coming into PC gaming to getting in here and to figuring stuff out. Because if you go in is naive and blind as I did, just thinking like right off the bat that Nvidia is the best, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. You're going to get that. And then like with recent games like Black Myth Wukong and Star Wars Outlaws, once you realize that like your purchase that you bought in the beginning of the generation, or you waited a little while and then you finally got it, or you finally saved up enough money just to get it right at the end of the generation, and then boom, the new games start coming out, and all that power that you thought you had just gets eaten away like that, and you watch that ray tracing power performance disappear. You watch you watch the way that these things disappear right before your freaking very eyes, and you instantly feel like, man, that sucks, bro. I thought this was gonna be you know what I mean? And you just watch that all evaporate and be gone, when in reality, if you just use that Nvidia GPU like you do like an AMD GPU without ray tracing, like you would probably be just fine. Like I'm pretty sure the 3080 10 gig, it was still a good card. Definitely not a bad experience. You could probably still be running some pretty good 1440p experience on that card. Just like the 6800 XT, like those cards, that 30 series and those cards, they are still relevant. They're not irrelevant right now, and that's the beauty of PC gaming, is learning to manage your expectations, and that's something that a lot of us, you know, when we're first coming over from consoles, that can definitely be harder for us to do. I know that this video went on like this whole rant, but I haven't done one of these for a little while, and I've just got so much pent up PC anger that I haven't talked about in a while. And you know, we start hearing rumors about higher power limits for the Nvidia cards, and then I'm just like, gosh dang, dude, this is crazy. But at the end of the day, guys, once you get out there and you start looking, and that's like I was saying, the beauty about the PC experience is if you can learn to manage your expectations, you can get a longer life cycle out of your hardware over a traditional console experience. Like you can, you know, lower some settings, play around with some settings, do whatever you want. Like it is in your control to be able to min-max what you can do. And the ROG Ally is the perfect example of being able to do that. As long as you can manage expectations and you're willing to utilize the tools that come with both Nvidia and AMD, you can prolong the life of these GPUs. And now with the invention of frame generation for both of these manufacturers, you actually can prolong the life of your GPU even longer. Especially if you go with the AMD card and you have access to fluid motion frames and stuff, you have the ability to stretch the boundaries of what that card can actually do. I would love for Nvidia to bring a feature, a driver level feature that would enable frame generation above and beyond what they already have out there, because everything that Nvidia needs right now is programmed into the game. Whereas, I mean, there's obviously lossless scaling and stuff like that, but anyway, like no matter what, you can find a way to prolong the life of your GPU above and beyond what you can with any of those consoles. And the beautiful part is the performance you have on the games at that GPU, you'll keep that performance. Like say you're playing some games at 4K 120 and they're maxed out, like you get to keep that performance. Like those games get to stay that beautiful and that good. And then you'll notice, you know, like you're going to have a pretty wide range of, you know, different games. Some games come out, they're more demanding. Some aren't as demanding, but yeah, guys, 600 watts, bro. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how these guys twist this and how it's no longer an issue, and how, oh man, we don't care. We got all the power, the ray tracing, the DLSSs. It doesn't even matter, bro. It's just nonsense. At the end of the day, these guys don't believe the shit they say. So you shouldn't believe it anyways. You should literally do your homework and buy what you need for you instead of listening to any of us stupid content creators. None of us believe the crap we say. Well, at least I don't think so. At least when it comes to the dudes we talking about like power draw and 1% lows and all of this stuff. 1% lows, honestly, guys, if you got a good CPU and you're keeping up on your CPU and stuff, you're gonna have a pretty decent time. I mean, as long as you can get like your 1% lows to be above 60, 70 frames a second, they usually don't introduce as much stuttering as you would imagine. Like it's actually pretty decent. Like if you're playing on a controller, like you're not gonna notice the 1% low stuff that everybody's talking about. The only thing you're gonna notice is like when you get like a lurch or a stop or something like that, and you're so used to that on console, so it doesn't even matter. But yeah, dude, like it's prevalent on every GPU I've ever bought. Like every single one of them do that on certain games. Like there's no perfect GPU that runs everything perfectly. So don't go into it thinking that one is superior than the other. They're both going to have their games that they're going to struggle with. They're both going to have games that they do very, very well with. So when you're out there thinking about buying PC parts and you're thinking about, you know, like, what do I need to enjoy this? I'm going to stick with my earlier recommendations, and I'm going to recommend a mid-range GPU. Okay, your 4070 Super, your 4070 Ti Super, your 7900 GRE, your 7900 XT, your 7800 XT, as well as potentially maybe that 7700 XT. Those are the kind of GPU range that I would kind of aim for if you're leaving console and you just want something that's going to propel you into the future, at least finish out this console generation with a bang. Any of those GPUs are going to more than deliver this experience throughout the rest of this generation. Any one of those are going to be very, very decent. You're not going to be too. The thing that you should worry about the most is your monitor, your resolution. If you shoot for like a 1440p experience, those GPUs are going to deliver that easily. You're going to have a good. If you're shooting for 4K, you are using upscaling. You are going to have, you know, obviously that's going to be your experience, you know, if you're okay with upscaling, stuff like that. But yeah, they're going to be able to do it. You're going to be able to get through most of this stuff. I mean, all of these games, like Black Myth Wukong, everybody was like, man, this is eating GPUs alive. I've had an incredible experience on that game, over 120 frames a second at my native resolution, and I'm having a blast, and it looks incredible. And when you look at, especially compared to the PS5 version, if you look at, you know, Star Wars Outlaws, I played that game at max ray tracing all the way through at 3440 by 1440p with all the ray tracing except for the RTX GI or whatever that I turned off, and I had a playable experience over 60 frames a second across the whole game. It was nice and smooth. I didn't report any bugs or any glitches or anything like that. It was a dang good experience. So, all right, my friends, if you guys like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.